Welcome to Vin and Mike, episode 102.
What is up, Vin?
How you doing today?
How you doing?
All right, and we got a great special guest with us today,
Yes,
Danielle
we
McCartan from WFAN in New York. Hey, Danielle, how are you?
Hey,
Yeah. Did you lose us?
Feedback here. I know why. Sorry about that.
We're all here. We're here.
Yeah, we're good. Sorry about that. I was here.
You got us.
So what's going on?
We're
Thanks for
good. Happy to have you. Thank you for making some time with us. For those that don't know Danielle, she is a teacher by trade, but a awesome part-time WFAN host that is usually on the weekends. I get a chance to listen to her. And we're just going to jump right into it, Danielle, because this Sunday you had a fantastic take on Saquon Barkley. You posted it on your Instagram. Tell everybody, what your take was on Saquon.
Yeah, I always post things. Like I don't hide behind or delete anything, So when I came up, I was sitting on, what was I on Sunday? So, Saturday night, I'm sitting on the computer. I'm like, man, what would I do if I were Saquon Barkley? And I don't know him. I've interviewed him one time for just a couple minutes. And so I was like, what would I do? Let me think of that. Remove the fandom. Let me look at this objectively. If I were him, what would I do? And I came up with like 4 characteristics that I would want in a destination that I'm going to. And, as a running back, you'd want one of the better offensive lines in the league, right? Well, the Eagles have had the best last season. And there were a bunch of different things. And the Eagles kept coming up of all like the permutations I was doing. And I was like, man, what if he goes to the Eagles? So if I were him, all of the Eagles fit all of my qualifications. So I put it out there and I was like, man, if I'm Saquon Barkley, here's my criteria. The Eagles meet all of it. I would not be surprised if he's in Philadelphia Eagle. But I did wish that he went back and showed the Giants the offer and allowed them to match it, which he did, and they just chose not to. So I hate to like toot my own horn here, but I nailed that one.
You did. Yeah, you did every aspect of it. And me and Mike were talking before, coming on the air about Devin Singletary. That's basically who they got to replace Saquon, but you're not really replacing him. He's a nice addition. What are some of your thoughts on Singletary?
Yeah, I mean, he's durable. He's a lot more. He sees the field a lot more than Saquon Barkley does. Pass catching probably takes a little dip, pass catching out of the backfield. But, you gotta like the fact that I had a stat in here, something about the number of carries they had or the number of yards per scrimmage was almost equal over the past 3 seasons or so. So, it's not a huge drop off, considering you have Daniel Jones, who is technically a running quarterback as well. So, it's not a huge drop-off. But I think, the Giants need to fix the offensive line, and that is the problem. That was actually criteria number 1 for me as Saquon Barkley. I want to go somewhere with a good offensive line that could show what I can do. And so the Giants' offensive line, it's like ad nauseum we're talking about this, and they just finally need to address it. But Devin Singletary, he's a fine player. He's a good enough player. He's not a superstar by any means, but he's a veteran, and maybe he can take on that leadership. Because Saquon was a captain, so maybe he could take on that leadership role now that Saquon is gone down the turnpike.
Yeah, switching New York teams, Danielle, going to my team, the New York Jets. They got Morgan Moses recently. What do you think about that trade? And what do you think that's going to do for them?
Yeah, the Jets were making all moves at this free agency that, they are addressing the offensive line. They let Bryce Huff go, but they're thinking Will McDonald's going to step in there. I look at probably the best move of them all, I'd have to say, is the Tyrod Taylor move. With the Giants, you've seen that he can go and win games. He went and stepped in for Daniel Jones last year. Kind of got derailed by the DeVito train, but whatever. But he's a serviceable backup. That's all the Jets need is a serviceable backup to Aaron Rodgers. My biggest worry about this Jets team, though, is twofold. It's the fact that they haven't yet released Zach Wilson. They're not going to get anything for him. I've resigned to that. They haven't yet released him. And then the news that Aaron Rodgers could be on the presidential ticket. That, to me, would be the ultimate, So I'm worried that they're also worried since Zach Wilson is still technically a Jet. I hope it doesn't come to fruition.
We were just talking about that with our buddy. There's no way.
There's no way, right?
There's no way. No.
He's got to be, feeling like he needs some more attention. Like no one's talked about him in about a month, so he's like, I got to get my name back in the news somehow here.
Oh well, I hope that's it, because if he runs for vice president, I mean, I swear to God, I don't even know what I would do. I don't even know.
This guy's gonna go from 4 snaps, torn Achilles, to leaving the team to run for vice president.
That's it. I
think Mike will jump out the window.
I might have to jump out. That's it. I can't take it anymore.
I'm done with this.
Yeah, Mike, what team would you root for if that's the case?
I have to always root for my team. I can't.
Oh.
I do. Yeah. I can't switch teams. It's in me. I have to continue on with this team. And I told Vin that I hope in my lifetime we can win a Super Bowl. That's all I'm asking.
I would real quick. I would mess with Mike all last offseason before, the first game, and I'd be like, I think, look at your schedule. You're going to get off to an 0-6 start. What happens, if Rodgers is there and you get off to this start and he got hurt on the 4th play? And I instantly texted him, season over.
Yeah, that's what he said. I was just.
Yep.
So go ahead, Mike. I'm sorry.
So yeah, I know we're limited on time, so I want to switch sports. Talk about a team that I think is really prospering. A lot of injuries, but getting back to the right where they should be. The New York Knicks. OG came back last night. It was so exciting to see. Now the minutes of some of these other people will go down because that's what's been killing them. So far, I want to get your analysis on the season and how do they compete against the Celtics even fully with a full team? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, the Celtics, they're a big team. They're like a physically big team. So they're going to need Randall. They're going to need Mitch Robinson. They're going to need Hartenstein with 2 Achilles, not just the one that he's been hobbling around on. So they're going to need those big guys. But as you said, OG Anunoby coming back. The biggest thing, people that watch the Knicks know this, but the biggest knock on Tom Thibodeau is that he has the circle of trust. And if you're the 7th or 8th guy and you're outside of it, you don't get a lot of minutes. So I hope that he has seen that Deuce McBride can 100%. Hold his own, can come in for Jalen Brunson, who at times does need a rest. So I hope that, this little stretch of injuries might have, I'm going to put a positive spin on it, might have allowed Tom Thibodeau to see like, hey, I can trust these guys. Hey, I can divvy up these minutes a little bit more broadly. And that we can roll into this postseason, this playoffs, almost at full strength, So I just hope, I hope that he was able to see that and have a little bit more trust on the end of the bench kind of guys, because they were contributing. They kept the Knicks afloat. I mean, think about that. So OG coming back is a huge lift, of course, but I'm curious to see if and when Mitch and Julius do come back, how that would then affect the entire team. Because I actually put a bet right after the OG Anunoby trade, I believe it was. I'll check the date. I put a bet on the Knicks to win it all. I believe this team has the ability to win it all.
All right. You made Mike and me very happy because you already got one of your picks came in on Sunday. So now, we're gonna rely on you here that the Knicks, are gonna take it. We want you to win your bet.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to see Hartenstein go down, but that he's a key cog to this whole thing. They're like 0-4 when him, OG, and Julius Randle are off the court. They can't win, so they need him.
Yeah, that goes to your point with the size. Those are the guys that really need to fill up the middle and do a lot, especially like you said against Boston, who's a big team. I tell you, I've been really impressed, and last year I wasn't sure if it was going to be a great trade, and it became a great trade. I'm even more impressed with Josh Hart this year. These triple doubles coming out of everywhere. What do you think when you see Josh on the court?
Just a workaholic, a baller, like a ball hog, like one of those kind of guys that's down for anything. Like, you need me to clean the bench, I'll do that, So I think, Mitch Robinson is my favorite Knick, but if I had to pick out of the current Knicks, it's got to be Josh Hart. I actually just did a Peloton class, not with him. Like, he was on the screen, but I did it with him, and like, man, the guy didn't even break a sweat. And I'm sitting there like dripping, and I'm like, oh my God. But Yeah, no, Josh Hart, I mean, he's got to be my favorite current active Knick. Just the way he plays the game with enthusiasm, with, he gets after it. He's a guy who gets after it, diving after balls on the floor. Like, you don't see that anymore. And you can't teach that either. Like, as a coach, I can't teach kids to dive for a ball on the floor. They have to want to do that themselves. And Josh Hart has that intrinsic motivation to do that. And I just love him. I love the way he plays the game.
Yeah, it's those Villanova Knicks, right?
Yeah.
With Brunson, DiVincenzo, and Hart's. It's great to see.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed it. Like Mike said, we know we had a short time with you, so I just want to flip real quick to the Yankees and this Garrett Cole situation. What came in today. For anyone that doesn't know, he's out at least 1 to 2 months. He's got to go visit a specialist out in California, which never sounds great.
No.
They are saying there's no tear in the ligament, but they got some issues with the ligament. So, with all that being said, Hal said we're all in. Where are we all in now with this Cole situation? Do you see Snell? Do you see something else happening? What's some of your thoughts?
Man, I just saw right before I came on with you guys. I didn't click to hear it, but the headline was Boone says Rodon is in line to be not opening day starter, but game 2 starter. So that gives me some sort of hope that they are going to go out there and get somebody. I saw obviously the Dylan Cease news, the Blake Snell news, but it's like you can't replace Garrett Cole. Like there's no replacing him. 33 games started. He was 15-4 last year. You can't replace that. But the best way to replace that Cy Young winner is with another Cy Young winner. I don't know why Blake Snell is not yet a Yankee, even with Garrett Cole in that pitching rotation. I have serious reservations. I've been advocating for Blake Snell forever, since he became available. He is what the Yankees need. I don't think Jordan Montgomery would want to return to the New York Yankees, but I mean, him or Cease or there was another guy out there, Tyler Glasnow. Like, obviously, he's not like the top end kind of starter that Garrett Cole is, obviously, but everybody kind of files up a little bit, and then you slide Glasnow in. I mean, not Glasnow, Mike Clevenger. So, I mean, it's like it's kind of maddening. It's almost like the Jets, Aaron Rodgers going down, and the Giants. I mean, the Jets having no plan. It's like, all right, now you needed a 2A or a 1B pitcher or a 2A pitcher. Even with Garrett Cole, he goes down, and you're playing it coy, like, oh no, we'll be all right. Like, no, you're not going to be all right. And maybe the offense can power them through the month of April because the hitters are always ahead of the pitchers in the early spring, but. I mean, once it gets beyond that, you get to mid-May and you're like, okay, now what? So they got to make a play. I don't know what's going on, but it needs to happen like yesterday, honestly.
Any thoughts on Trevor Bauer?
I prefer not to comment on Trevor Bauer only because I'm a New Jersey public school educator and I don't want to kind of go down that rabbit hole. If he signs with the Yankees, cool. If he signs with the Mets, cool. We'll address it then, but I really don't want to go down that way.
Yeah, totally get it. All right, we know you got to go. We appreciate you making time with us here real short. We're going to have you back on when you got some more time, all right? We're going to do that.
Well, we got to do it. I start coaching softball on April 2nd, so either before that or after Memorial Day because my social life shuts down to zero.
We'll bring you in. We'll bring you in this summer so we can make fun of the Jets again.
Yeah, we can do that. Well, summertime. Email me back. We'll do it in the summertime. I'll have way more time to deal with then.
Sounds great. Thanks, Danielle.
Thanks so much, Danielle.
All right, guys. Appreciate it. Thank you. Good round. Good carousel. I like that. It was good.
Thank you.
All right. Bye, guys.
Take care. All right.
Danielle McCartan there with us. That was great. Happy to have her. Been working on getting her on, I think, for 2 years, Mike.
Yeah, it's been a while, so I was glad to see her.
She gave some good insight on the Giants. She did say we didn't get into a lot of depth and details because she had to go. She has another appointment, but she likes Singletary, which you said before the show that you liked Singletary as well.
I like that a lot.
And she made a good point. He doesn't have a lot of wear and tear on him like Saquon. He's, I think, the same age. He's got a lot less carries. He's not as great as a receiver, but he's a playoff running back last year.
I don't want to. Yeah.
He played for Buffalo before that, so he's got some playoff experience and all that. I think it helps having somebody like that come into the fold.
Yeah, and I don't want to jinx it, but Barkley missed a lot of games. He missed 25 games the past 5 seasons. Singletary just missed a handful the past 3 seasons, right? So
Yeah.
Healthier and cheaper option, and we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah. I think they're probably going to draft someone somewhere in the draft as well. I don't know, not first round, of course, but somewhere, deeper in the draft. I think they'll add another running back, change of pace, maybe more of a goal line touchdown kind of back, because I see Singletary as more of that flex kind of flair, throw the sweep kind of running back, right? And then get somebody to pound the ball in between the tackles in the goal line, short yardage situations. But she also made a point that, Daniel Jones is going to be back, right? I mean, no matter what I think the Giants are saying behind the scenes, I looked at the dead cap money. If they release them, it's close to $70 million. It's like 69 and change. So I don't see them pulling a Russell Wilson like Denver did and try to go that way. But we'll see. We'll see how they do it, right? I'm not sold on Daniel Jones. I don't know how you feel about him.
Yeah, I mean, listen, this is someone who's been hit or miss. I mean, that's what he's been. So what Daniel Jones are you going to get this year? I think there's a lot of potential there, but he in a way, I feel that the Cowboys with Dak Prescott and Daniel Jones is kind of on a similar, right? Do you agree with that?
Well, the Cowboys owe Dak Prescott $59 million.
It's crazy.
That's the cap hit. They have to extend him, or they're just going to play out that $59 million cap.
Well, I have a stat for you, which is unbelievable.
Go ahead.
Crazy. Daniel Jones, 47.1 mil, right?
Yeah.
Dak Prescott, 59.4 mil.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, and Saquon Barkley, 36.3 million
for next year, right?
Yeah.
Or this year coming up.
This year coming up.
Yeah. I mean, listen, Howie Roseman, I say it as much as I can. The guy puts together a phenomenal team, manages the cap better than anyone that I've seen. They're constantly refreshing that team every year. If you look over the last, 6-7 years now, besides the one Doug Peterson off year, they're in it every year. They're in the playoffs. They're in the Super Bowl, twice in the last 5-6 years, whatever it is. They won a Super Bowl. They got new coaches. They're constantly figuring out ways to do things. They improve. They constantly improve that team. So as New Yorkers, and we're not Giant fans, but it's frustrating as a football fan to see how they do it every year. It's like Kansas City, right? Like Andy Reid just refreshes things. He's got Mahomes, and then it's like, okay, we're just going to fill in the blanks everywhere else. It just gets to the point where it's like, come on already.
I want to talk about your football team, the mug that you're drinking out of right there.
Yeah,
Josh Jacobs.
Yeah. So
let's hear what your thoughts are.
Yeah, I think the Raiders weren't sold on Jacobs last year going into the season. Of course, that was Josh McDaniels, but I think the same feeling was that they didn't want to pay him that big contract that these running backs want. They had Zamir White, who really showed really good signs when Jacobs was hurt last year. Had some really good games. I think they're gonna move forward with White at this point. They brought in Gardner Minshew.
Yeah, so that was a good move.
Aiden O'Connell. I wouldn't be surprised if they still try to bring in Justin Fields somehow. That wouldn't shock me. They let Renfro go. He was a nice little slot guy they had there for a few years, but it's time to move on. They improved on the defensive line, right? Adding Christian Wilkins. They already had one of the top defenses the last 5 weeks of the season. So that really adds another aspect that we didn't have, that beast kind of guy in the middle. I think the Raiders realize that you got to play Mahomes twice, right? You're going to have to play Justin Herbert twice. And you're going to have to hit the quarterbacks, right? You're going to have to, beat these guys up. We'll see where Denver ends up in this whole mess out there. But you got, two quarterbacks. You got to play 4 times that one is the best quarterback in football, and the other is an up-and-coming potential star that has Jim Harbaugh now as his head coach, right? So you look at all that, you're going to have to figure out a way to slow them down a little bit. And I think that's the Raiders' mindset right now is, let's continue to get this defense better. Pierce, the team loves him. He's your typical players kind of coach. He was a, Super Bowl winning player himself. So it all looks nice, right? I think ultimately we still need that franchise quarterback, right? We have this rotation of quarterback. Like Carr was there, and then we bring Jimmy G, who failed. Right. I don't know if Aiden O'Connell's the guy, and he's going to compete with Minshew now, and is Minshew the guy? Yeah. I think ultimately somewhere in this near future, they got to get themselves a real franchise guy. It's not Minshew. It's not probably O'Connell. So is it Justin Fields? I think he's got the ability. I just don't know if that's going to be the guy, right? Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see how it all plays out, ultimately in it. But I tell you where I was really shocked, Mike.
Go ahead.
We talked about the running backs and the list that we looked at before.
Crazy list you just sent me. Yeah.
Just read off like each guy and like where they went. It's just it's just amazing.
I know.
Yeah, read them.
I'm going to read off Derrick Henry, Ravens.
Right.
Aaron Jones, Vikings.
Yep.
Joe Mixon, Texans. Zach Moss, Bengals. Saquon Barkley, Eagles. Josh Jacob, Packers. Austin Eckler, Commanders. Tony Pollard, Titans. DeAndre Swift, Bears. Devin Singletary, Giants. Gus Edwards, Chargers. Antonio Gibson, Patriots. That's
unbelievable. I mean, like every number one back went somewhere else, right? Or if you were not a number one back like Zach Moss, but he filled in a lot for Jonathan Taylor, so he proved he was the number one back. Went somewhere else. I mean, it's just unbelievable the amount of running back moves, and they all got paid, right? They all got some pretty good money. Like Derrick Henry got 2 years, $16 million for a guy that's close to 30, close to the end of his upper echelon numbers. He didn't have a great year last year. So, it's going to be very interesting to see how teams use these guys, where teams go in the draft and all this stuff.
I think the Bears made out well. I want to talk about them because they got Swift for $8 million a year, and he's going to pair well with Khalil Herbert. I think that's going to be good for them. I think it's going to be interesting. I think they did well. I think that was a good move.
Yeah, they also brought in Simone Biles' husband, who played safety last year for the Packers, Jonathan Owens. Mm-hmm. He played really well, I thought, for the Packers. Watching games for them, I think that's a nice addition. They have a ton of money too. They still have a ton of money, and they're going to probably trade Fields. I don't know what they're going to get from him, but if they keep Fields,
right,
and they think he's going to be the star, and they trade that number one pick down, and they could potentially just trade it down to like the Patriots. They don't even have to go probably farther than that, and they'll get a ton of guys, a ton of picks, ton of stuff back for that. So I get it. You want to reset the rookie quarterback salary cap, especially if you don't believe the quarterback is a franchise guy, right. But they'll have to make that decision. And Ian Rappaport, I reported the reason Fields hasn't been traded yet is that the Bears are fully evaluating the draft class before they make the move. Yeah, and the last pro day, I looked it up, is March 28th. I think that's it's either North Carolina or Michigan. So they'll get to see Drake May, J.J. McCarthy, Jaden Daniels, and then of course Williams. Those are the 4 guys that you figure they're evaluating at this point. If they want to take any of them at number 1, or they figure we're going to just trade down. We could still get Marvin Harrison Jr. at 3, or maybe even trade with the Giants, right? And say, all right, we could get somebody here at 6. Maybe trade with your Jets there, right? I mean, there's just a lot of opportunity, I think, for Chicago in keeping Fields if they feel Caleb Williams is not that next Hall of Fame quarterback. Because you remember when you draft a quarterback number 1 overall, you're not drafting a franchise quarterback. You're drafting a Hall of Fame quarterback. That guy that you're drafting, you want him to go into the Hall of Fame. That means you want to win a Super Bowl, if not multiple Super Bowls. That's what the number 1 overall pick really comes out to be. So that's really what they have to decide.
Yeah. Speaking of quarterbacks, how about Kirk Cousins getting a 4-year, $180 million deal with the Falcons? Like, that was insane. So now the Falcons answer their quest at quarterback, but that was something seeing that.
He's gonna make something like $450 million in his NFL career. He's going to make more money in his career than multiple guys combined, and he hasn't won nothing. He hasn't done nothing.
I know.
It's just unbelievable. Now, listen, Atlanta has probably even better offensive pieces as a whole than Minnesota did. Maybe, right? Maybe
Right.
2 years ago, Minnesota was better, right? But definitely last year, this Falcons team is built a little bit better. Not saying Jefferson's better than not saying Drake London's better than Justin Jefferson, but we know Bijan Robinson got a lot of upside. We know Kyle Pitts has got a lot of upside. There's a lot of upside there. I just don't know if Cousins is still a right guy because, like I said, a couple of years ago, they had Dalvin Cook, Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen. Who else did they have? Whatever. That those 3 guys alone, right? And they just haven't done anything. I just don't know. I don't know. He maybe the Matt Stafford disease will rub off on him, and he'll go somewhere else and win. Even though this is his 3rd team, not his 2nd team, but I don't know. This guy's getting paid a ton of money for not winning.
I couldn't believe when we first saw that. We were just like,
I can't. I mean, listen, I knew someone would sign him. I thought he'd get a 1-year, like $40 million deal to go somewhere where they thought he could win, right? Like a veteran kind of guy come in and win, like Pittsburgh or something like that, right? Like Pittsburgh maybe is a quarterback away. They get Russell Wilson, of course, now, who I don't know if he's done or not himself, but I thought maybe somewhere like that he would end up. But to get that 4-year deal, 4-year. I want his agent to be my agent. That's what I want. So we got someone in the chat here. I'm just going to post him real quick. It has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but I'm happy for him. He said, not sure if you guys seen the Champions League, but I won a nice bet on the Madrid versus Inter game. That's mystery sauce. Congratulations there. Thank you for listening, and we're always happy when people
we'll have to talk to him offline about some of his picks.
Yeah, we always like when people win their bets. That's why we're hoping Danielle wins her New York Knicks win championship bet.
I love that.
Then that song she put that in on the OG trade happened, where I was like, "Oh my God, what kind of trade is this? This is ridiculous." And you were all for it, and I'll be honest, I was wrong, Mike. I was wrong.
I appreciate you saying that, but it's okay. I understood where you were coming from, but
yeah,
what's good, again, these guys, all of them have been pushed to the limit with their minutes.
I know.
I mean,
I don't like the way it's one of the things I don't like that Thibodeau does is that I just think he wears guys down as the season goes along. I get a little nervous, especially Brunson playing all these minutes, and now Josh Hart and DiVincenzo. Start playing more. And like Danielle said, McBride and Burks and
right.
What's his name? Precious, right? All these guys. Let's start getting some.
You have to have more of a rotation, right?
20-minute guys in there, right? 25 minutes. Can we have Brunson play a 30-minute game once in a while?
No, but last game was, and that's why it got better last game. Brunson played 27 minutes, right?
Well, they were up by 30.
True, but if they could get him, you're right. If they could get him at those kind of minutes, it'll be so much better for the team.
I mean, listen, we've been up by 30 before, and he's still playing.
Yeah, which I don't understand. I don't know why he has to play during those times, right?
Yeah,
So,
like let him.
believe in your team.
It's a good opportunity to give him. It's like being a DH in a baseball game, right? You get like a half a day. You're not in the field. If you can get him out in the fourth quarter, get him out in the fourth quarter.
Yeah,
give him some extra rest.
Yeah,
that's what we need. Yeah, Josh Hart's been amazing. Like I said, those triple doubles are awesome. They're great to see. DiVincenzo hitting 3-pointers. Guy thinks he's Steph Curry sometimes.
Sometimes
nails him.
Yeah.
And he gets this like hot streak, and he just like hits shot after shot. It's like unbelievable to see. Like a lot of fun. Fun team.
They are a fun team.
Let's talk about it. I know our man Steve Moses is probably out there. He's probably
walking the streets,
losing his mind, and feeling a certain way and all this stuff. And Garrett Cole, I'll tell you, here's the biggest problem, and this is where it starts. Is Hal Steinbrenner said we're all in, right?
Yeah.
And they let Yamamoto go to the Dodgers. They didn't match the highest bid, which give the Mets credit, give Steve Cohen credit. He matched it. He just chose the Dodgers over the Mets. The Yankees should have been in that same spot if they were all in. Well, you didn't get him. Like Danielle said, there's a Cy Young Award winner out there, Blake Snell, lefty, Yankee Stadium. Lefties always excel a little bit more in Yankee Stadium because you have to put more right-handers in. It's deeper to hit home runs as a right-handed hitter in Yankee Stadium, unless your name's Aaron Judge. But there's only one guy, right? So usually lefties excel a little bit more. Here's a lefty guy won Cy Young. Actually, won 2 Cy Youngs. That's the other thing. Like he's won in the American League East also when he was with Tampa. So he's won 2 Cy Youngs. I'm not saying give him $30 million for 8 years, but there's got to be some kind of common ground that we can get this guy. Because Garrett Cole out for 2 months. Let's just say 2 months is the minimum, and we'll just play numbers.
Okay.
Well, that's 12 starts, roughly, maybe 13, probably 10 wins with the Garrett Cole on the mound. So now you got to make up 10 wins in his spot with a number 5 starter. Right, because you don't have. That's what you're doing. You're bringing up somebody or starting someone that's not going to be on the rotation. Let's just say you can get half those back, right? Like 6 or 5 of them.
Yeah.
So you get like a -5. 5 games is huge in the American League East.
Sure it is.
Huge in the American League wild card. All that stuff is something that we need somebody to pick up those starts for at least 2 months.
It has to be Snell or Montgomery. I mean, that's it.
Yeah, but not only that, Mike, that's 2 months. This guy's going out California to see a surgeon. He could be out for the year. Now we got to figure out how we're getting 32, 33 starts. And you're talking, he won what, 18, 19 games last year? How many games they won when he pitched? 20-something? Where are you getting 20-something wins?
Right.
You got to have a big-time pitcher come in. But, if they trade for Dylan Cease, okay, go give me 2 pitchers. Because we're a little shaky with our 5 starter, Let's go get 2 pitchers now. I mean, listen, you're all in, Hal, right, Steve? I know you're out there, Steve. He was all in, Hal. Go all in. Let's go. Right?
Yeah.
Get excited.
They just got to do this. There's no other choice. Without Cole, how are you going to compete? Come on.
You can't. Especially there's options, right? It's like a whole other thing. Like if there's no options, then I'm saying, all right, we got to make this trade. We got to do this. We got to do that. At this point, I don't even know. I really don't know. They got to go sign these guys. I know. Trevor Bauer is a touchy situation. Even Danielle didn't want to comment on it, right? It's a toughest, But listen, if the guy did not commit a crime, he's done with his time. All the stuff we always say, right? Like you did your time, you did whatever. You should have an opportunity to a second chance or third. I don't want to say third chance, but it's like second chance, right? So maybe no teams will ever want to give him a shot again because who knows what the real story is or other stuff. But if he's done all his stuff and everything is good moving forward, guy won a Cy Young as well. Give him a shot.
Yeah, why not?
They're going to end up with Mike Clevenger, like Danielle said, and they're going to throw him in there, and he's going to have a 5 ERA by May 1st. And we're going to lose our minds as we're sitting there at 14-16 after the first 30 games. That's Aaron Judge is batting 130, and Juan Soto decided that
now you're acting like Steve.
That's what's gonna. That's where we're headed with if they don't make a move.
They have to. There's no other choice.
I know Judge went for, the other thing that's been overlooked is Judge went for an MRI himself. Nobody cared that Judge went for an MRI.
No.
But I guess in his is just
his is not his
core soreness, no actual real strain. Hopefully he gets himself healed up, ready for opening day. It's right around the corner, 3 weeks away.
Can you believe that?
Yeah. Why don't you tell our audience a little bit about your time at George Steinbrenner Field?
Yeah. So
enjoyed yourself?
Yeah, something I always want to do, check off the bucket list is going to spring training. I've thought about it over the years, and just with time restraints and just work, wasn't able to do it. I said this year, I'm going to pull the trigger and just go to Tampa. Was very fortunate to go, and the weather was nice, and got to see Steinbrenner Field. And as expected, George did it right. The field was beautiful. Got there very early. I wasn't in a place where I could get autographs like in the front there, but I was in the outfield and had a great view. I did the really like standing room tickets where you can walk around the whole stadium because I can't sit still anyway, so I'm walking around. And it was just really cool. Rodon was pitching. I didn't care about the score, the outcome at spring training, but just getting to see some of these guys up close and just seeing a game there was awesome. I'm really, really glad I got to do it. So
nice. Yeah, I gotta check that one off on my list next. Maybe next spring we'll see how that all works out. We'll have to figure that out for myself.
What's crazy though? I just remember when I was younger, I took spring training so seriously. I would go home from school and I would check the standings and the box scores, and I took it very seriously. Now I'm just like, whatever, let's just get to opening day. But when you're a kid, you really watch all that very closely, and you get upset if your team loses. It's just totally different dynamic now. Crazy.
Well, I told you how he was obsessed with spring training because it's not like it is now, right? Like Yes Network always has the game on. You can flip it on. It's on. Back in the 80s, when I remember being a young kid, they always had spring training on, I think it was WABC at the time.
Okay.
The Yankees were on the radio, and it was always on the radio. And he would listen to spring training games on the radio. That's how vested he was in the Yankees. I don't know if anybody listens to spring training games on the radio just to go out of their way like that. Yeah. Maybe you'll throw it on for a little bit. I know a lot of people just throw it on the TV just so it's up, just to, maybe see a Soto at bat or Judge at bat, but you're not really paying attention to like a spring training game to that extent. He was deep into it. I remember he used to tell us about minor league players. He's like, this guy's going to be, so-and-so. And like, I don't even know what he's talking about. But meanwhile, he's talking about guys that actually became, major league players. I remember him telling me about Derek Jeter when he was player of the year in the minor leagues.
I remember you told me that.
Yeah.
That's a
He's
cool
like,
story.
yeah, he's like, there's this young shortstop the Yankees have, Derek Jeter. He's gonna be up, sooner or later. He was minor league player because you didn't really pay attention to minor leagues like you do now. I'm guessing you have more access to it now.
Now, because of the internet.
I'm guessing if you lived in Florida back in the 80s and 90s before like the Marlins and the Rays came into existence, spring training was probably like really big for people that lived down there, right? So they got to see the teams, really paid attention to all that stuff. I didn't pay attention to it. Like I said, I don't even pay attention to preseason football. I tell you all the time, it means nothing. Like
I get upset with it because I just want to fast forward to game one always.
I could care less that the fourth string quarterback that's going to be the PE teacher in his local town is just won a game for the Raiders, right? I mean, in all seriousness, it's like this guy is not even going to be on the team, and we're freaking out that they didn't really look good today. They didn't have no one played, and not even that. When the guys that play that matter, they play one series, two series. We know how football is. Football is 4 quarters, right? Like 2 series don't even matter. You just want guys to stay healthy and not blow out their Achilles in preseason. Right? I mean, that's really what it comes down to. Think about Rodgers. Remember the stink they gave? Oh, Aaron Rodgers is going to play a couple series in preseason. What happens if he gets hurt? Right? He comes out of it. Boom. Then the first game of the year, he gets hurt.
I know. It's so crazy.
And what would they have said if he didn't play in preseason? Oh, they should have played him a game. That's why he wasn't warmed up. He didn't. He wasn't ready to go.
Yeah.
Listen, guys get hurt all the time.
But it seems like it's more now. Maybe we were just.
Oh, and we forgot to ask Danielle about that craziness. Is New York sports here, right? Like every big team.
Think about it.
Some big player hurt.
But not just. We talked about this. It's not just anybody. It's the stars.
Yeah,
it's all your stars.
I mean, it was like last year. Judge got hurt. Randall got hurt, right?
How about Mets? Diaz left. Diaz.
Both Scherzer and Verlander, right? The start of this year, right? Sungal, whatever, he's already hurt. Randall's hurt. Rogers is hurt. Daniel Jones is hurt. Barkley was hurt. This guy's hurt. It's like New York injury sports. Like every time a team looks like they're gonna take the next step, someone gets hurt, and like you said, it's not the 10th man on the bench or the 5th defensive back. It's literally like the stars of the team.
Yeah. And then you have to really calculate, right, with the Yankees now, right? You have no other option. It's like you have to sign pitchers and you have to do it quickly, right? But a lot of times teams are like, how long can we wait? But you're right, Vinny. Like you lose. He has 33 starts a year, let's say, and he's going to miss at least 2 months, and that's putting it nicely. You miss those games, you get behind some of those teams. It's hard to get back.
Yeah, and Dylan Cease just went to the Padres.
See, it's happening.
So the Yankees now have less options now to make a move. Let me tell you, people are freaking out right now that Blake Snell is still out there, and the Yankees have not made a move.
Yeah.
Scott Boras is sitting there going, "Hey, listen, let's pay him some money." I don't understand how the Yankees don't have a negotiation in place. We'll bring Snell in, give us a deal on Soto next year, Boris. We're gonna bring him in, but they gotta have some kind of conversation like that.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, listen, there's got to be all these wheeling and dealings that go on with these agents that you can't really put it paper to pen, but I'd have that conversation at least. Especially Soto's already there.
Yeah.
Don't kill us with $50 million a year. Give us a little hometown discount, and we'll sign Blake Snell. I don't know if you're actually allowed to even negotiate like that. It might be a little, unethical in the terms of what's allowed. But listen, this is sports. Crazy stuff goes on.
You never know.
Never know. What else, Mike? What else didn't we hit? We got free agency, Jets, Giants, Knicks, Yankees. Anything else we didn't hit that we want to talk about?
I guess we're just coming up, March Madness, Big East tournament.
Oh yeah,
We got St. John. I hope my friend Brian, who listens to the show all the time, he knows I'm all on St. John's and he laughs about it. But I'm just excited about the game. St. John's Seton Hall will be a great game, and we'll see what comes out.
Are you when the brackets come out? Are you filling out a bracket?
I will fill out a bracket. Yes, I will.
Do you have a pool that you are associated with?
I will find one because they always come out, and I always hear about it like in the next couple of days.
It's amazing how we have the conversations about this stuff. It's like, oh, why did you take this team? I was like, listen, what does it matter? There's no perfect bracket ever. It's never going to happen. You're better off buying $1 million of lotto tickets.
Right.
A better shot of spending $1 million on lotto tickets to win $100 million than you have of getting a perfect bracket. You can make thousands of brackets, and there's like 680 million combinations or something. And this is the thing I always say: you can get everything right to that final game and still lose.
Right. It's all about the game there. Yeah.
Imagine that. Imagine getting every game right to the finals and then losing on that. I would lose my mind.
Yeah.
There's all these things that give you $10 million for perfect brackets. Can you cash out? Can you tell them I'll take like $1 million if
It's so hard to do.
Who do you anyone you looking at early on?
Yeah, I was kind of in agreement with you. I love watching Purdue. I think they're a special team. Houston has been very tough over the years, so I think they're going to be very difficult to beat, but who knows?
We got to find somebody that knows more on this NCAA.
Maybe Steve, our other friend Steve, he would be good. Big basketball.
Yeah, I got to find someone that really watches college basketball. That maybe want to pop on next week or something.
Yeah, I think we should have them on for sure.
Let's figure it out. We'll figure it out. All right. I think we did
great show. Great show today.
We got a lot more football signings coming down the road. Jimmy G's going to be a Jet this year. Don't worry about it, Mike. He's going to be there.
Even though they have Tyrod Taylor,
his hair is going to be flying in the wind as he runs onto the field.
Yeah.
He's got a 2-game suspension, I think, for PED use, substance abuse. I'm pretty sure he probably took some like Adderall or something like that. That's usually what happens with these guys.
Yeah.
You get to tell the NFL they're having anxiety and forgot to mention what medicine they're taking. Even though Adderall is a very good deterrent of PEDs, but what do I know? All right, Mike. Very good. Oh, I hear your dog.
Yeah, she's getting excited down there.
You better go take her out because we don't want her freaking out.
Nah, she's cool. She probably smells food. She's going nuts.
DoorDash is at your door.
Yeah. See you next time.
All right, everyone. Have a good night.
Bye.